Some Sox are looking to come back, others are hitting snags, and one may be actually permabanned. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Sea Radio. My name is Corbin, and thank you very much for clicking on this video. I figured this would be good or maybe bad timing to do an injury update video on everyone for the Boston Red Sox, mostly because Lucas Giolito is coming back to the Red Sox tonight to make his first start of 2025, which, by the way, we are going to be live for tonight, right here on this channel, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be watching Lucas Giolito and the Red Sox take on the Toronto Blue Jays. This should be an incredibly interesting game, so make sure you guys are there. Again, it's going to be 7 p.m. Eastern right here on this channel. But before we get to that, we got a whole lot of injury updates to get through, starting with Masataka Yoshida, who started a throwing program this week that, of course, according to Alex Cora, did not go well. His exact words from Christopher Smith of Mass Live were, the throwing part of it did not go well this week, so when we get back to Boston, he might be there. He also said that the head athletic trainer wants to see Masa in person because he's still experiencing soreness and that he's nowhere near a rehab assignment at this point. I mean, dude, at this point, it's basically one of two things. Either one, this is legitimately a much more difficult surgery to come back from than anyone legitimately realized coming into the season, right? The Red Sox sat there and they said, Masa will be fine, and he ends up not being fine, and that could legitimately be a possibility. Masataka Yoshida did have pretty major surgery over this offseason, and maybe there is something legitimately going on here that is preventing him from being 100%, and I'm not doubting that that's the case. The other part of this is that the Red Sox could be a little bit more willing to push off his ability to get back on the field than with some other players on this IL, right? Masa could have sat there and said, yeah, throwing went well, I was just a little bit sore, and the Red Sox said, wait a second, you guys, you're sore right now? Hold on, we need to shut you down for the next 3 weeks, we need to get you back up to Boston, you need to figure this out, we need to get you 100% right now, right away, we're going to delay everything a month, right? And I think it might be a little bit of a combination of both at this point, with the Red Sox a little bit overeager to see these setbacks from Masataka Yoshida. Not that they're happy about it, right? But it does delay a really, really big question the Red Sox are going to have to answer. And honestly, regardless of what's going on here, I'm really starting to feel bad for Masataka Yoshida. I mean, all this dude wants to do is play baseball, and it legitimately feels like every single step he's gone through to get there has been a bit of a setback, and this is just another one here. Having to travel back to Boston after spending time in Fort Myers this whole time probably isn't on his list of things he really wants to do. I don't know what's going on. I genuinely have no idea. I wish I could give you guys some sort of timeline or update. I don't have one, right? It feels like right now, regarding everything Alex Cora just said yesterday, it feels like he's at least another month away from even thinking about a rehab assignment, which would put him like 2 months away from coming back to the Red Sox. But I'm not even going to put that as a tough timeline because we've been saying that for a month now, right? Beginning of this season, we were like, hey, he's probably a month away from a rehab assignment. Now we're a month into the season, and we're saying, hey, he's probably a month away from a rehab assignment. I don't know that we ever see Masataka Yoshida in a Red Sox uniform again, to be honest with you, right? It just feels like every single possible way Masataka Yoshida could be delayed, he's being delayed, and I don't know what the reason for that is. I just simply feel bad for this guy, and honestly, I think the Red Sox could use a bat like Masataka Yoshida's in this lineup, even if it's on the back end here. But you look at the situation, it's just like, okay, well, he can't DH. Are you going to move Duran to center field and put Masa in left? But then what do you do with Roman Anthony and, say, Don Rafaela? There's so many moving parts here that the Red Sox are going to have to answer. I have to imagine part of them is at least a little bit relieved that they don't have to make that decision just yet. And I think that could be a reason why they're delaying this. But again, I don't want to speculate that the Red Sox are holding him back on purpose or perma-banning him from the Red Sox just simply to avoid this conversation. I'm hoping this is legitimate. I'm hoping Masa legitimately is having these setbacks, not because I want him to have setbacks, but because the other way around is a little bit disheartening. We'll find out, right? I guess we'll keep the wait and see with Masataka Yoshida continues. This dude is a man of mystery right now, a ghost of the Boston Red Sox. It also looks like there's been a bit of delay on the Connor Wong front for the Red Sox team. He's currently on a rehab assignment. The original hope was that he would be back in this series against the Toronto Blue Jays. it's starting to look more and more like that's not going to happen, and he's actually going to come back during the Minnesota Twins series when we get back to Boston. Alex Cora's exact quote again from Christopher Smith of Mass Live was, quote, "He feels slow with his move behind the plate and his timing was off, so there's no guarantee that he'll be here in Toronto. This dude can't come back soon enough." Just diving into the numbers specifically, even outside of the eye test, Carlos Narvaez has been absolutely fantastic. In fact, pitchers right now have a 3.73 ERA with him behind the dish, and he's looked especially excellent defensively behind there. Right now, he has the most defensive runs saved in Major League Baseball, so the Red Sox certainly do have someone back there that can legitimately take over this full-time starting role. That's not the reason why he can't come back soon enough. The reason he can't come back soon enough is because Blake Sabol, on the other hand, he doesn't exactly look fantastic behind there, and the numbers back that up. Pitchers with Blake Sabol behind the dish have a 5.77 ERA. Opponents are hitting almost 300 off of Red Sox pitchers with him back there at 298 with a 772 OPS. He has thrown out one runner that is stolen on him. Guys are running wild on Blake Sabol, and it's a big reason why we aren't seeing a lot of consistency from this Red Sox rotation. It's not the only reason, obviously, but at the same time, too, to have that big of a discrepancy between when Carlos Narvaez is behind the dish and when Blake Sabol's behind the dish, it makes it really difficult to find consistency as a pitching staff, right? And that's a big reason why we aren't seeing it. Connor Wong, in his 8 games so far this year, has a 3.50 ERA overall. I mean, you look at the eye test, right? And Blake Sabol, he isn't an everyday Major League catcher, and he's not doing what a backup needs to do, which is just simply be solid defensively. Even Connor Wong coming back here would be a huge difference to this Red Sox pitching staff, and that's exactly what this team needs right now. However, we don't really know what role Connor Wong's going to be in when he comes back. Right now, it looks really hard to take Carlos Narvaez out of that legitimate everyday starter role. Even Alex Cora, to some degree, admitted that a little bit when talking about Connor Wong. Carlos is going to play. He's going to play, so we'll figure out how we're going to do it. He's done an amazing job. Right now, he's the best defensive catcher in the big leagues. He's putting good at-bats together. That's how it works, right? We're excited to have them both whenever Connor gets here. But honestly, even if Narvaez is the more everyday catcher, which I think right now is the right move for the Red Sox, getting Connor Wong back and just simply having him on this team and having that tandem for the Red Sox behind the dish, I'm not even worried about what they're doing at the plate. I'm more so worried about what they're doing behind the dish. Could be a whole world of difference for this Red Sox team. So regardless, I'm excited to get him back. Doesn't sound like it's going to be this series. Sounds like it's going to be the next one in Boston. We also have some pitching updates that feel pretty important to talk about here. The first one being Kutter Crawford, who, as you guys all know, has been dealing with that knee issue for the entirety of this year so far. He made a pretty big step recently. On April 27th, we learned that he will throw one more bullpen session. Then by the end of next week, on April 27th, he's going to start facing live hitters. Now, I don't really know exactly how that timeline adds up, considering April 27th was a Sunday, so it's either this Friday or next week sometime. Either way, he's only a few days away from starting to face live hitters, and that is a pretty big step because that's the next step towards a legitimate rehab assignment. It's really the step below starting a legitimate rehab assignment, right? You've done all your work in the bullpen. Let's get you up against live hitters. Let's see how you do. Let's reassess, and then once you're comfortable in live BP sessions, then you can rejoin a team, whether it's Portland or Worcester or whatever, and we can get you back on this Red Sox team. It sounds like Cutter's only a few weeks away from that being a legitimate possibility, which is fantastic, right? Because at the beginning of the season, this really started to feel like this was going to be something that was going to be an extremely long-term injury. Now it kind of looks like we're going to get Kutter Crawford back in the first half of this season, and that could do numbers for the Red Sox pitching staff. The question now becomes, what role is that going to be in, right? Is he going to be a starter? Is he going to be a reliever? Honestly, it's probably a conversation later down the line. I think it's really going to depend on how this rotation's looking, how Richard Fitz is looking, how Hunter Dobbins is looking, Giolito's looking, right? By the time he comes back, whole lot of moving parts there. So not really a conversation to have right now at this moment, but let's focus on the fact that Kutter Crawford is actually getting healthier, and let's focus on the fact that he could be rejoining the Red Sox within the next month and a half. Really, really good stuff. I think a worst case scenario now with what we're looking at here, kind of factoring in any sort of setbacks, right? Unless it's anything super major, you're probably looking at getting him back before the first half of the season is done. So basically by the end of July. And finally, we do have a pretty small Richard Fitz update. It's that he's throwing from 120 feet right now. Still not throwing off the mound at this point, which is obviously sort of the first steps in getting towards a rehab assignment. So still a pretty decent ways away from seeing Richard Fitz back in a Red Sox uniform, at the bare minimum in a Woo Sox uniform. Alex Cora did say he's feeling better, which is some positive movement on that front as well. And overall, taking a look at these injuries, I would say for the most part, it's pretty positive stuff, right? Connor Wong is in a rehab assignment. He should be back within the next 2 or 3 days. Kutter Crawford making a big step in his return to the Boston Red Sox is fantastic. Richard Fitz is throwing again. The only one that really feels like a negative is Masataka Yoshida. And again, I'm still kind of baffled as to where this Masataka Yoshida thing will end up, right? Will he ever end up back in a Red Sox uniform? I think at this point is a legitimate question to ask. I'm just feeling bad for the dude, and I'm hoping he can, at the bare minimum, get healthy enough to prevent the Red Sox from delaying him anymore. Overall, taking a look at everything, though, knock on wood, this is a lot less in terms of injury updates than what we had last year. I felt like last year was every single day or either every single week at the bare minimum. We had to do this big, giant injury update video because there were just so many guys on the IL. This year's a little bit different so far, right? You still have guys who have been on the IL, but certainly a lot less. So really great that these injury videos are coming out once every 2 weeks. These are super long or anything, but that's just my opinion. Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of all this? What do you think of the latest injury updates? Which one to you is the most impactful? What are you thinking about all these? Is there any good or bad? Let me know all your thoughts. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It just simply helps out a ton. It's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Don't forget, if you guys want to listen instead of watch these episodes, all you got to do is head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. I will see you tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on this channel. And as always, in the Red Seats.